Hello there. Welcome to Green Wealth Legacy Facebook page. And in today's conversation, we're going to talk about the one thing that is keeping you stuck financially, from out of control to financially confident. And we're going to break down the shift that most women miss. I'm going to do this in 3 installments. This is a deep conversation that I want to make sure I explore all of the options, all of the ways that you can understand how this shows up in your own life. So today is the first installment of the series. And this series, again, is from out of control to financially confident, the shift that most women miss. And in today's topic, we're going to discuss step one, which is awareness. We're going to talk about the fact that you don't have a money problem. You have an awareness problem. So that's what I want to break down. So if you're catching me live, I want you to hang around because we're going to have a really in-depth conversation. I'm not holding anything back. I'm not sugarcoating anything. I'm also not saying just what you want to hear, because the truth is there are so many women that I talk to all the time that are making great money and doing all the right things. They're saving, contributing, and planning. Yet they still feel unsure when it comes to their finances. They feel anxious and they're still not in control of their money. So what I want to tell you here, this is not a money problem. This is a thinking problem. Because the woman that has this problem, it's not about the money. You think it's about the money and it isn't. What you have here is a thought, emotion, action pattern that is creating a money experience that feels out of control. There's a difference. Because here's the scenario that you're living right now. You make good money, you feel responsible, and you are. You're thinking about your future, but you still feel anxious, unsure, behind, and not in control. And that's the gap. It's how you feel. You can have two women that are going through the same exact life, but they experience it differently. And the reason why is because of how they both think. What you think about determines your experience of your life. So you're not actually living your reality, you're living into your experience. So let's talk about the woman who feels out of control. She'll have thinking like, I don't know what's going to happen to me. I don't know if I have enough. I'm not ready. Everyone else seems to be ahead of me. I should be further along than this. And this is very subtle, what's going on here, but it's very powerful. Because what is going on is she's collecting other people's stories. She's collecting conversations surrounding her from her childhood, from her environment, from her coworkers, what she hears on the news about money on social media. And she's turning those into her future. She's reacting emotionally to thoughts that she's never questioned. She doesn't even know where she's heard this thing about money not being in control. And she just believes it. And she rehearses these thoughts over and over and over. So she's not actually responding to reality. She's responding to an unmanaged thinking. And here's what an unmanaged thinking creates: anxiety, indecision, avoidance, inconsistency. So even though you know you're capable, you still feel out of control. And the more you repeat to yourself that you need to be more consistent, you need to get a hold of your anxiety, the more you build thoughts that create more anxiety, more indecision, more avoidance, more inconsistency. Now, if we turn over and look at the woman who's financially confident, how I like to call her is the FCW, she has the same circumstances. She earns a good living. She saves money. She thinks about the future, but she has a different way of thinking. Here's how her thoughts sound like. So this is something you may want to write down so that you can change to start adopting this way of thinking. She asked herself very powerful questions and very positive questions. What do I actually know? What number do I want to create? She sets financial goals, specific, precise financial goals. What is my plan to achieve the goal? How do I move this forward today? She doesn't eliminate uncertainty. She leads herself through it. So she creates clarity instead of waiting for it to just fall upon her. She decides instead of spiraling. And because of that, she feels grounded. Because those questions, your brain likes really good, powerful questions that expand you. And when you answer them, you feel grounded because you have answers to move forward. She takes clean actions out of her managed brain. She follows through because she believes in herself. She builds self-trust. So right now, you're living in a pattern that is anchored inside of you. Thoughts that give you a certain feeling that you don't know how to process leads you to actions that create your current reality. And if you don't take responsibility for those thoughts, then you will always feel like life is happening to you. That's just how it is. I had a client say to me, I don't know what's going to happen to me. Now, when she says that, it sounds so real to her that she really doesn't know. But the sentence, I don't know, is the worst sentence you can tell yourself. It sounds like a fact, like I really don't know. But the truth is, it's just a thought, and thoughts are optional. You don't need to think a thought that is not serving you. So telling yourself you don't know what's going to happen is not useful because it keeps you in the unknown. It keeps you in the dark. Because that thought creates anxiety. When you don't know, there's panic, right? Anxiety, which makes her hesitate. This client, she would hesitate to make decisions. So she was like stagnant financially, stuck. And so she doesn't create any clarity because she's not moving forward. She's not creating a path to her financial freedom. But when she shifts to, what do I know? Now she's back in the driver's seat. She's back in control. Because now she can bring out the list of things that she does know. Because she does know something. You may not know all the things, and you don't need to know all the things, but you know something. So what do you know? And this part is what I teach my clients about 100% responsibility. When you're actually not trying to control your circumstances, but taking ownership of what you think, how you feel, and how you show up. And every time you remember that that's what you're in control of, you realize that you can create your results on purpose. You decide what reality you live in. Now here, if you feel that you are out of control with money, you just don't have a hold of it, right? You don't know how to create more of it. You don't know how to multiply. You don't know how to move forward with it without the anxiety and the stress, the regret, the shame, and the guilt. It's not because something is wrong with you or that you're actually out of control. It's because you have been letting your thoughts run unchecked. You've been letting your brain go unmanaged. And the moment you start leading your mind, taking the wheel, is the moment that you stop life happening to you and you start to create it on purpose. The only way you accomplish all of the things that I just taught you here is when you recognize that you matter more than anything else in your life and that this is where you get to start. Not with fitness, not with being a best employee, with your money. Managing your mind to get control of your money is where it all starts. And when you neglect that very truth is where everything feels out of control. So I teach a masterclass, how to spend your money guilt-free. that will be taking place in a couple of weeks. I want to see you there live because this class is where I teach you exactly what you need to do to take yourself seriously, to understand how much value you have. Because the number one problem I see with women who are not doing this work with their money is because they think it's not as urgent. They think it's not as necessary. Meanwhile, it's the most important work you can do with your time. And I want to show you exactly how to do that. So the link in the comments of this video have access to all the information you need to know about the class and how to attend live. So I want to see you there. And that would be the number one way you prove yourself that you matter. And that when you take care of yourself and your money, everything else in your life, your relationships, um, everything that you're trying to build is going to come together. It's going to fall into a beautiful pattern and you will see it. Okay. So in the next video, I'm going to teach you exactly how you can take a hold of that thought, feeling, and action pattern that I described earlier, and how you can play this out in your daily life. Because again, I don't want to hold anything back. I really want you to take this with you so that you can practice this, because this is where you start to take ownership of your own results in your life. And you will be able to understand why you keep getting stuck, even when you know exactly what you need to do, but for whatever reason you're still stuck. So we're going to break that down in the next video. I can't wait to see you there. All right, my friend, see you on the next video.